Oh, good. You gave me the question, so I don't have to. Some of these we've already answered before.
All right. Are we live now? Let's see here. Had an error. Hold on here.
No clue.
No.
Says everyone can see and hear you, but I have no idea.
Yeah, it says that I'm. Okay.
Well, it's Monday, so.
Yeah, totally Monday. So, okay, cool. Um,
Says you're live.
Says I'm live.
Just, I don't know, just jump in.
Okay. Yep, there we are. Okay, sorry about that. StreamYard did some updates, of course. So, anyways, welcome to Tech Talk with T&E. I am Terry Samuels, and
Elisabeth Samuels.
And today we figured out, or excuse me, we figured that we would just do some Q&As. We get asked a lot of questions about different topics, obviously, and so we were just going to have fun, answer some of the questions. If you guys have questions, put them in. We're happy to answer them. Like and share, like our YouTube channel and share our stuff. That'd be awesome. Elisabeth, do you have a question right off the bat?
Do I have a question right off the bat?
If you don't, I've got some.
I do. No, I do. Because, okay, so like you manage all of the digital, the SEO. There's a lot of things that are changing a lot more rapidly than they are over on the web development side. Like a website is a website is a website. Yeah, we have CTR and all of that. But what would you say is the biggest thing that you run into when you're doing audits on clients that other SEO companies have worked on before?
I think, well, the biggest thing obviously is around content. And I think it's just because people are still doing content or haven't looked at their content in a long time. I mean, most of the updates in the past 12 months from Google was around content. You had the helpful content update, you had the eat update, the eat update, and you just had some spam stuff in there also, which is normal. But I think the biggest thing is that in the world of AI, especially, that people really need to pay attention to their content. Their content needs to be better. Their content needs to be helpful, if you even want to use that word in that context. But I think that's the biggest thing I've seen in audits is there's still a lot of light content out there, 300-400 words on a page. And I don't think they're pulling the same weight as they used to, obviously. So I think that, purging pages is very important nowadays, especially since, not only do we not really know on a scheduled basis of when we get crawled, but how long they stay and how many pages they crawl. So I think it's just always important to have your phone
turned off. It's always important to have your phone turned off.
I forget every time too. So, but anyways, yeah. So I think that it's really, really important to make sure that, if you have old blogs, we have clients that have blogs from 2012. So obviously we do a lot of repurposing of blogs, especially if there's a lot of, again, light content. So you have 3 or 4 blogs with 300 or 400 words, you add them all into one, do a new URL, redirect the old to the new, and you just now, in my mind, you organized and did something better for that website. So I think it's all around content for sure.
So you don't think an end user is going to look back at blogs from 2, 3, 12 years ago, right? So
and not as we've seen, of course. I mean, I think if they're continually blogging, especially, because I don't think they're going back to see, now, and it's, indexed and ranking and traffic are, 3 things that you kind of look at. Is this blog getting any traffic? Does it rank for any keywords? And is it indexed? And a lot of times what we find out is they're not indexed, so they've either fallen off somewhere and they, were never brought back, or some reason Google doesn't like that text anymore or that content. So, but yeah, I think you have to pay attention nowadays. And it's hard for a business owner, of course. It's super hard when you're a business owner and you don't have somebody doing that for you or with you. Then I think it's very, very difficult because a lot of business owners are still working 12, 14-hour days, and they're not going to take time to go back and look at their old stuff, but I do think it's super, super important nowadays to keep track of that stuff. And as much as it is important on the link side, but I definitely think content is not to be ignored anymore. For sure.
So with all of the rise of AI, and like we know people that have AI products, do you feel that that's hurting? Like I want to support, obviously, our friends in the industry that have gotten creative, they've created SaaS and everything's great. But if there is like buckets and buckets of AI content that is like not good, then, at what point is it not, the juice is not worth the squeeze? Like, it's not helping your site, or is it helping your site? Like, where do you find that balance, I guess, is the question, because everybody wants to put more content up there for Google. So Google sees that you're constantly updating your site, you're, providing relevant content. If it is relevant, I don't know. I think our content writers are a little bit more manual than most people out there.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, just because, as much as we love AI, I still don't want to automate that. I still want the human touch. I still want to make sure that it's good content. Yeah, and there's some SaaS tools out there that write awesome content. I'm not going to pick any one or two out just because there's, a lot out there. But I do believe that if you're just auto-generating content to auto-generate content, and you don't have a human touch or a Grammarly Pro or something checking this content, then I don't think you're going to get the benefit out of it that you think. Of course, there's cases. I do know there's tools out there that write very good content that also auto publishes that content. That might be working just great. But on Salterra side, with the greatness of AI on our side, is we just write a lot more content, but now our old writers are now kind of copywriters. They're the human touch that we want in Salterra, and and we're still pumping out hundreds of articles a month, but we're not doing it automatic. We don't, say, hey, pump 10 articles every single day to this site, and not even checking it. So we haven't gone to that extreme yet. I have some websites, obviously, that we could do that on to test, but I like it more personally. Our clients love our content, especially the way we train ChatGPT. So I don't want to kind of mess that up. So every time we turn in content to our clients, it's exciting for them, because we're, with the help of ChatGPT, we're coming up with clusters of content now, and we're coming up with really good topical relevant content that we want to present to them, and they're happy to not just post it, but even help us build out more of that. So that's the biggest thing. Yeah, but I do think that's why I said the wrath of AI. There's new websites being built every 3 seconds now. I just did this at the Legit Lab. I had all these statistics, and it's crazy how much AI has changed things, and it's not going to get any easier. It's still going to be coming, and granted, it's going to be better and better and better as far as the quality, I hope. But I still believe that, at least for us, we still have to have that human touch. I'm just not ready to kind of vomit content out in the world, so to speak.
What would you say is our advantage as an agency over some that you've seen? Like, obviously, we don't know like everybody in the industry, but based on the audits that you get in, where you're the 4th or 5th SEO company to take over, what would you say is our strength and advantage as an agency?
I think it's, again, the biggest thing that we're different is in the is in the realm of the content. So I'm all about content. I'm all about siloing a website. I'm all about schema, of course. And I think that, what we look at is especially when we take on a new client, is we look and see what content has been written. Was it purposely written for a purpose? Or is it just fluff content? Or is it just content that's maybe a little bit off topic, but the siloing is confusing in it, as far as understandability of how a website's to be crawled. But I do think that, what makes us different is we are a family business. And I think that, we've got each department doing its own thing, which I think is pretty cool. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think it's more of what we look for of how we can help people, because I love taking on clients that are either stagnant or even having a little bit of a downturn or even a big downturn. I'm helping a couple sites right now get back from the helpful content update. That seemed to be the biggest boom that happened last year as far as updates. But I think as far as differences, we really care about our clients. We really make sure that we're on the same page with our clients. I'm not a guy that you can just hire and I never hear from you in 6 months. It's not going to work out. So we have to have these constant communications. We have to make sure that not only am I providing leads, but am I providing the right leads, quality leads? What is our conversion rates? All this stuff where we have to be strategically teamed with the proper people on that side of the fence. So again, I think our communications is probably one of the best things that we do. And there's businesses that don't want to communicate. Well, that's fine. It just might not be a good fit for us. So, that's all.
Okay. Well, and obviously, since you teach on page and you teach schema, that's the foundation and the core of how you structure your SEO.
Mm-hmm.
What are some key technical tips for SEO that businesses should focus on? So, do you want to focus on, like, as a business, like, what if you're a business owner, what should be a focus, or is that more for an agency that is managing SEO? I'm not quite sure about the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Question.
I'm not sure either. I think, again, most business owners don't even pay attention to their website.
Oh, that's a fact.
When we, I haven't done much this year, but the last couple years I did a lot of malware cleanup, and it was amazing how just business owners don't even go to their website. They're like, I had one guy said, "Oh, I haven't been to my website in over a year." Well, that's why you got a red screen in Chrome right now, because you've got malware. So, and so I do blame business owners for that. I think that business owners need to pay attention to their digital footprint, obviously, as much as they're doing, with their brick and mortar business or their stores or their trucks or whatever they're doing out there. I think the digital landscape is important to pay attention to. And it still shocks me how many people don't pay attention. Another statistic when I was doing it legit was, 48% of businesses still don't have a website. So they're not even anywhere. I mean, so, it kind of makes you think of, with the internet being what the internet is, and the internet's just going to continue to get bigger and, call it better, that you need to be out there. So, but yeah, it's, I think as far as technical SEO tips, again, just make sure your website's live, Google yourself, make sure your phone numbers are accurate, make sure nobody's changed your stuff, because it's very common to have something changed. And you not know about it, especially if you're not paying attention. I encourage you to have Google Search Console installed on your website for even a business owner. It's free, but that's the communication that you get to have with Google. As far as, pages and problems and challenges and malware and all kinds of stuff is going to come through Search Console first. But I think it's, just pick a good host. Obviously, don't host on GoDaddy and some of the, EMG companies, Bluehost and HostGator and those type of companies. So, but yeah, I do think business owners need to step it up on their keeping track of their digital landscape for sure.
What questions do you have for me?
Let me see here. Let me go through here. Let me see. What do you see the future in as far as web design? I mean, we've been using the same theme and plugins for years in WordPress. Have you looked at any other variations of what's come about? or that might be coming about?
No, I haven't really looked to see what's out there. I've kind of had my head down. I've focused a little bit more in a different direction myself because I'm looking at agency stuff. I'm looking at growth and admin and all of that. So I'm not building as much as I have in the past. I'm popping in and doing edits. I'm doing server stuff. So as far as anything new and revolutionary in design, I haven't looked. So there's probably people out there that have a much better idea than I do. Just being honest. I would say that conversion, I think, is always one of the things that as a developer we need to focus more on. Because that's the whole purpose and value of your website, is to provide something for an end user, whether it's business to consumer or business to business. You want to be a solution. You want to have the answer. You want to help people. I mean, I'm hoping.
Yep.
Otherwise, what's the purpose of your website? But having creative but authentic conversion instead of, I'm going to be honest, like I've never really been a big fan of funnels just because, yes, I know they work, but they just don't feel good. They do feel a little spammy. And so that's my hang up, I would say, now that I just put that out there for the universe.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I just, I'm definitely, when I'm looking for a solution, I'm looking for something authentic. I think a lot of people are looking for an authentic connection and authentic conversion,
Mm-hmm.
but that's me. That is.
Let's see here. What's your favorite hosting company?
I don't know that I have a favorite. I mean, I am using a couple of different ones right now, and I would say that I don't know that I can answer that I have a favorite. I'll be honest.
And they're constantly changing.
There's some good ones out there, and they're good in certain ways, but yeah, I would say I don't have a favorite right at this moment.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because they're goods and bads for sure. So
I'm not a fan of managed WordPress. It's not fun or easy to deal with. I don't like it. Kind of a control freak. I want to have access to all my stuff on my servers. I don't. Okay, maybe I would say maybe some stuff outside the country is pretty awesome because I've not had issues with it, but
yeah,
you already know I'm a fan of Hetzner, but that's just me.
for sure. So okay, looks like, hold on, we got a couple questions here.
I love questions. Share. Send them all.
Hello, everybody, by the way. Let me see here. Okay, so there's several strategies with PR stacking. Do either of you have a favorite PR stacking strategy? I do. I mean, we've been PR stacking for a couple years now, and it's something that we do. We stack. So we stack PRs, we stack content, we stack schema, we stack link building. So when we started to look and see how to, and the whole reason we went down this road was, how do we get these press releases to last longer? So a typical press release will start falling off. You'll start losing links after about 5 to 8 weeks. So we wanted to figure out, okay, so I just spent this money on this press release, so I've got to spend this money on 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 over the next 12 months. What can we do to maybe keep these things alive longer? At least some of the good links, because every press release you get hundreds of links, but there's always good ones. So we pick out the 5 that we call the top 5. So we pick out the most powerful links. We pick out the ones that seem to be sticking around longer. And then we build links to that one through another press release. So I like to start with AB Newswire. It's one of my favorite to start with, mainly because we get the links so quickly. We can typically, if we load the PR in the morning, we can typically have the links by the afternoon. And so we can start the second press release, which we use variable. So we use Madge has a good press release service. We use EIN Newswire for the second step. The biggest thing is that each press release is going to be different as far as linking. So EIN, for instance, you're only allowed 3 links. And you've got to be strategic in the anchor text with that one, because it'll grab the very first one in the article. It doesn't allow you to link it yourself. You put it in, I want this anchor text to go to this website, and then EIN picks where that link's going to be. So, and then the third one is always 38 Digital. So the third stack is, 38 Digital. One of the reasons we love 38 Digital is because they also boost the press releases. So we're kind of doing 4 press releases into one, especially with the links we built. But stacking PRs is great for maps, because you definitely want to have an embed on each referring domain. A typical stack for us, if we do 3 levels, it will be about 1,500 referring domains. So you're getting 1,500 embeds. You can be very strategic with your anchor text within these PRs. And I think the biggest thing we do different is our press releases start as a blog post on the client site. So and those links we can control, those anchor texts. So even after the press releases are loaded, we can still change the blog post if we want to use different anchors or add more content, add more anchors, because we're building links. All those press releases have at least one link coming into that blog post. And it's typically a branded link. So, but yeah, no, I love PR stacking. I've taught on it. And then, matter of fact, it's the topic of the bonus week this week, tomorrow, for the live on page class. But I do think it's powerful. I've had other people tell me it works for them also. But I do believe that especially for map rankings and some boosting local pages, I think stacking PRs is awesome. So anything on that, Elisabeth, at all? You've seen me teach it many times.
I've seen you teach it. I don't do it. Like, I'll write PRs for you, but I don't go into the back end of where to put them and how to do it and all of that. I know that works really well for you. Yeah, but I can write one.
All right. And then another question. Do you guys know if batch geo links work for local SEO? I'll be honest with you. I haven't tested them in a long time. I don't have an answer. So I know at one time they did, but we stopped using them about 2 years ago, just because we do different things with linking for maps, for local press releases, for instance. We still have our own network of websites that we use for local SEO linking. But like I said, it's I would test it. Buy a package for a month. I think it's, I don't know, like 90 $100 or something. But test it, put it on a website and a GMB and see what it'll do. So I tell that with everybody, even software that works for us. I still tell people to test it. You still want to make sure it works for you. So it's very, very important. But good questions. So
yeah, I don't know anything about local SEO other than to refer it all to you. I know enough about SEO to sound like I know what I'm talking about, and I understand when people are talking about it, but I don't actually do it. I will say that I'm kind of itching a little bit to do more schema, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Uh-oh, that sounds like you're gonna have me do some schema.
Yeah. We do white label schema for a lot of companies, a lot of agencies, and it's actually the fastest growing part of our business. Is people are realizing the power of schema, especially schema that's done, call it manually. But yeah, it's a it's a big deal for us. Let me see here. I had a question. Branding. So what advice for businesses looking to grow their brand is in a highly competitive market do you give them? We both do branding. You do it on the design side. I do it on the technical side. But talk a little bit about branding.
Okay, so the biggest thing that I am going to say about branding is we need to be consistent. So, as a business, if you have a logo, if you have colors, then let's make sure that that is consistent across all platforms, that it's the same logo, same colors, same message, same images, same fonts, because you want people to get to know you, and they're only going to know you as many times as they see you and they see that it's consistent. So if I go and I go buy a Coke, right? Everybody knows Coca-Cola is what, 130 years old, give or take, but they have had the same font. And if you guys remember, like what, 80s or 90s, they tried to rebrand with the new Coke and that flopped, you know. Being consistent is important. I do get a lot of people that say, oh, I want my website to look like Apple. I'm like, well, you don't have the budget. And I can make it look like Apple, but nobody's going to know who you are. Like, everybody knows Apple because they have been consistent with their branding, with their images, with their messaging for quite some time. And so, for a smaller company, obviously, if you don't have the big budget and the big design team like a lot of these other large corporations have, then absolutely. Let's get a clear message as to who you are and what you do and how you solve problems, you know, because again, branding and CTR is very, very closely related, I would say, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
I agree.
And be careful about your messaging, making sure that it is a solid who you are and what you do. You know, you want it to resonate with people. Again, it's a big complicated thing because yeah, I want it to look pretty, and yes, I want it to answer and solve all these problems, but you know, I do want people to resonate with it. So I want it to be authentic. I don't want it to be too fake, and it's a lot sometimes, so you just need somebody to help you kind of sift through it. I've seen so many clients to where they do their own branding, and okay, that's fine. Us professionals do it for a reason, to try to be clear and intentional with the message that you're sending out.
Yeah.
But if you have solid branding, stick with it. I understand that a lot of times for companies it's hard to rebrand because okay, you've got to change your website, you've got to change your business cards, you've got to change your car wrap, you've got to change your building signage. Like, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but if your message is not being conveyed with your current brand, then let's look and see what we can do and talk about what it needs to be and how we can transition over. I,
Mm-hmm.
I understand that it's a huge expense, but what is that costing you if it's not clear to your customers who you are and what you do?
I agree 100%. And on the SEO side, it's all about the brand, so we always put the brand at the end of every image. We always put the brand at the every, titles, obviously we do a author boxes on every single blog that we do that just promotes the brand all over again. And then the brand promoting on the GMB, whether you're doing, GMB posts or, images or whatever, make sure you include the brand and all that stuff. So, Michael Merlino's the first one that I've ever seen scream it from the top of his lungs about brand, brand, brand. And it is so important. We've started to help people actually get ready to sell their business. And part of that is brand building, is that you need to have a good digital presence when you go to sell your business, and you need to have a good organic placements. You need to have all these things in place when you go to sell so you can get the most value for that business.
Yeah.
And brand's huge. So,
Well, yeah, because there's 5 billion companies out there screaming for attention. How
yeah.
are you going to get noticed? Obviously, you need to have a good product, you need to have a good message, but you need to be clear in who you are and what you do and what you solve.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is conveyed with branding. Like, if I go to a website and it's disjointed and I'm at the point, like, I can't always articulate exactly what's wrong, but I instantly see something and I know it's not right. And if me being in the industry can do that, what about like the end user, like a client? You go to somebody's website and you're like, who are you? What do you do? Like, I don't understand. So, with you and I working together, like, I want visually it to represent who my client is, what they do, how they solve a problem, what questions they answer, and then you as well, by promoting that brand out there, and also solving the problems and answering the questions from an SEO standpoint so that Google can show that site, because there's so much more involved. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame any SEO company for not having web design on board, because a lot of people didn't start out that way. I just think that we're at a distinct advantage because we do. Like, I build sites that I know you're going to be able to just jump and run with. And I've seen it. When you get a site that somebody else built that I didn't build, you're like, what the hell? You have so much to do right in the beginning, right out of the gate, to fix all the things that other people have done that aren't necessarily cohesive with the message that you're sending out.
Exactly. Yeah.
I hear about it. I hear about it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's one of the things that we're pretty adamant about too. So, just had an idea. What if I added the PR link onto the location page where in the PR it has a link to that specific location page? If it's a reciprocal link, I'm not a big fan of reciprocal links. The only time we do reciprocal links is in a silo, from the bottom of the silo to the top of the silo type of thing.
Okay,
Um,
why? I don't understand why.
well, the biggest thing is that we, at least in our testing, we haven't seen any value in it. And if you have a link from the press release to the location page and then going back to the location, back to the press release, what was the purpose of that link? So if you have a link going from the press release to a page, and then on that page you have other links going to other pages within that topical relevance, then
So
I
it's
think that's much
editorial.
more powerful than to send it back. It's like a homepage link. I see a lot of people that'll put a link back to their homepage from their location pages. Now, granted, we have one in the main nav anyways, but that's a semi-ignored link as far as in Google's concerned. But if you have an anchor text and that link goes back to the homepage, then I think you defeated the purpose of whatever's coming in, because the homepage doesn't need that much stuff. So that's always, I don't believe in bouncing back and forth, just because I want, however the bot works, if it comes to the page or goes to whatever, they're going to get a link to the press release from the blog post anyways in schema, because we put all these links in schema. So go to my site sometime and find one of my press releases and look at the schema. You'll see how it's all set up. But yeah, so we really want to make sure that we're thinking about how the link is going to work, which is probably a little bit different than 99% of the people out there. Is we actually think, okay, what is the purpose of this anchor text, and what is it going to solve when it goes to this point, and kind of the whole track of that thing, directing traffic, so to speak. Know enough to be dangerous. Yes, sir.
Me.
Apple doesn't need to worry too much about its load times. Yep, agreed. Apple's a traffic hog. We have a bunch of businesses out there that just don't need to do much of it.
Well, and if I can convince you to buy $1,000 phone every year, what do they care?
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. Let me see here. Pop another question out here. What can attendees expect from SEO Spring Training 2025? Are you ready to talk about anything there yet, or?
I don't know how ready I am to talk about it. I'm pretty close to finalizing a contract with the location. I don't know that I have solid stuff. I've got a lot of ideas. I've got a lot of things bouncing around. I absolutely am probably going to jump into our private groups and do some questions. I want to get some feedback from previous attendees. Like, what were some of your favorite things about it? What can I do better? I'm constantly looking to improve. I don't want to just, I don't want anything to be like kind of automatic. I want every year to get better and better and better. So I don't know. I'm already starting to plan all the things. I've got stuff written out on the whiteboard.
We have the dates.
We have the dates. I can share the dates. It's the 1st through the 4th of May. So that first weekend in May. We're looking to have our traditional 2-day conference schedule, 1 extra day for those that are doing like the tech mastermind, and then another extra day for the VIP. So if somebody is a VIP level, then it's Thursday through Sunday. If you're just a general attendance, it's just Saturday and Sunday. The welcome reception, we'll always do that Friday night. That's always going to be fun.
And we're looking at Chandler instead of Scottsdale.
Yeah, so we found like super cool area in downtown Chandler, Old Town Chandler, that has been revitalized. There's a ton of places to go right within like a 1 block radius. I think they have like 35 restaurants and bars. So as much as I love the idea of everybody staying on property and hanging out together, I also know that not everybody is, a geek like us and are kind of, confined to our little network. But there are a lot of people, I think, that want to go out and do stuff and see the area. And we absolutely encourage anyone that wants to kind of make a little vacation out of it, take a couple of extra days, go check out the Grand Canyon, do all the fun Arizona things.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few people planning that this year. So that's exciting because it can be, Arizona's got a lot of stuff. Everybody goes to the Grand Canyon. I actually like going south down to Tombstone and Bisbee down in that area. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see people come and do the things, so to speak. So
all the things.
All the things.
So, I love it.
So, okay, let me see here.
What are you looking forward to at spring training the most?
We just ended the speaker request. I just took the form down this morning. We have a lot of people that want to speak, and we've already asked a few people. I think the most exciting thing is building that part out, is building out the speakers and and then we're still going to do the morning. Well, we don't know yet. So, but we're still going to have breakout rooms and main stage. So we're still trying to figure out that kind of process. But, and what these breakout rooms are going to entail. I think we're going to get more into automation this year. And then more into a little bit different aspects of AI. But I think that's the fun part for me. So the committee and I are starting to formalize that type of stuff to take to the main group. Elisabeth and I don't just do all this stuff by ourselves. We never could. So we actually have people that help us, which we're super appreciative of. And so I think that's the biggest thing. And obviously, the golf extravaganza is my favorite day. So, and that grows every single year. So, and the golf course is like attached to this hotel. So that's going to be really cool.
So you're trying to say that you might sneak off and go play an extra round of golf? What?
You never know. If Terry's gone on a Saturday morning,
Whatever. No, I just, we do go to a lot of events throughout the year. We see a lot of people love it. I love seeing what everybody else is doing, but obviously this is something that's pretty special for us. I'm looking forward to being a little more relaxed this next year. I've got some help in place so that I can do that. Because the biggest thing is like I get to hang out with all my tech friends and I love that. So
Exactly. Yep.
but
Let me see. Yes. How do you think we treat, or how do you think our process of client relations is? One of the things that more and more people are starting to realize they really need to start paying attention to is the churn rate. All the different things that people go through as far as churn. I've seen presentations to where they actually put like a 10% churn rate in their kind of like their spreadsheets, and I'm just like, that's kind of odd, that you would
okay,
plan
so
on losing people.
I would
So,
say for us, we kind of take it personally. And I understand that it's business, but we're very invested in our clients. We're very invested in their success. And if somebody leaves, like, I mean, we've had a couple leave through no fault of our own. It's,
oh yeah,
nothing we did or didn't do. And it's a challenge, it's harder for us, I think, just because, you know, family is so involved in our business as far as not only just our employees but you and I, and
hmm
we look at a lot of our clients as part of our extended family as well. So I think we take it a little harder than most people, but I understand we approach it differently too. When we have meetings with clients, we really want to get to know them on a deeper level, and how can we help you, not just how can not just how can I take your money and do all the things, like, we are invested in their success,
yeah,
and
for sure.
and I think because of that is why we've had clients where, like, even if they do leave and they come back,
Mhm.
you've had several clients that have come back, and again, no fault of your own that they left in the first place, but they're like, man, I'm not getting this anywhere else. So
Yeah, and that's and that it's unfortunate when people do different things, but I think it's also important to make sure that you're not just doing, as on my side, I just don't do SEO. I mean, SEO is a part of what we do, but we have the whole high level system, the retargeting system, the funnel systems, pay per click. We try to do everything a client might need or desire to fulfill their goals or whatever they're working towards. And I think that's super important. I think if you're just an SEO person, that I think you're going to get consumed at some point, as far as they're going to hire a pay-per-click company, or they're going to hire somebody else that they really like. And, oh, by the way, we do SEO. And so next thing you know, you're gone because now they like the pay-per-click company. And, granted, they might come back, they might not. But, I do think that, the word no, we don't do that should never be in your vocabulary. If you don't do it, find somebody that does and mark it up.
oh well, I mean, I tell people all that all the time as far as their website. They're like, can you? And I'm like, yes, but it's time and money. I mean,
Yeah,
it's probably going to cost you. It may take a little more time, but yeah, I can do that.
yeah, for sure.
So
100%. So, okay, another question here. Oh, this is for me. Terry, can you tell us a little bit about your on-page class? Okay. Yes, no problem. I've been doing this now year and a half, almost, yeah, about a year and a half. I've been teaching live classes, and I started teaching a live content class mainly because of the audits I was seeing and going through. A lot of people are, again, they're either not paying attention to their website and their older content, or they're continually doing the same thing they've always done, thinking they're going to get a different result now. And so when I started thinking about a live class, I wanted to cover basically getting back to what are you writing about and why. So at Salterra, we write about queries. We live in queries. We do keyword research, just like normal, but we go after topics that people are actually searching for. So whether it be people also ask or queries from Search Console, or the little notificate or little recommendations at the bottom of the pages, that's what you should be writing about, is what people are searching for. It's solving or answering a question or solving a challenge or a problem. And so when I started putting the class together and figuring out what I was going to do, we basically teach people to kind of start over and thinking about content differently. I can tell you from Salterra's side, we've reduced our link building cost because we've gotten so much better at content. And I was never a content is king guy, because I think you need to do everything, but I do think strong content will take you a lot of places. And so, yeah, I'm having the last one this year. It starts October 1st, I believe. And we allowed 10 students in each class, just to try to make it more personal so people can ask questions and get all the questions answered that they need to get. It's every Tuesday, and then Fridays we have a ask me anything, frequently asked questions type of session. That's not mandatory, but we get people to come in on Friday and they'll ask us questions about some stuff they've been working on over the week or whatever. And we have the private Skype group, and the Skype group is a living, breathing thing. Every student that's went through the classes in there. Some people have been through the class a couple times. We also do this class for agencies. So I have a couple agencies that send me all their new hires to go through our on-page class. So it's a passion of mine. I love teaching. And I get some kickback because of the price, but I priced it so people would take it seriously. I priced it so people would, not just pay me a little bit of money and not show up at the classes and, do all the stuff that we've all done, and I'm probably just as bad at that. I've got a whole JV Zoo account of all the stuff I've bought and never used. But so I wanted people to take it seriously because I know it works. And
I don't think it's just that. I mean, holy hell, there's a lot of information in there. It is incredibly comprehensive, and I've taken it a couple of times and I still don't know all the things, but I'm telling you, from day one, class one, I was like, holy shit, this is a lot of work. I don't want to work that hard.
That's why you're on the web design side.
That's why I'm on the web design side. Yes. I want to color and make pretty pictures and do logos and all that stuff. So I have a question. If you had to start your agency over with all of the knowledge of everything that you know now and everything that you've experienced in the last 13 years, what would you do differently? What's some takeaways from your experience?
SOPs at the very beginning. We made the cardinal mistake. I don't think we even started on SOPs until our 7th year. And so Elisabeth and I were scattered, especially when we went to hire people and we didn't have a good training program. I mean, there's all kinds of little things that if I knew now what I knew then, I would have done completely different. I would have definitely started hiring earlier. So you and I still, and especially back then, did almost all the work and had some help with our kids and a couple of VAs and stuff like that. But I think just the structure of the business, because this was our actual 3rd business together, but it was different than the house flipping business because we did have, employees and construction companies and all this stuff, but we also had people running those, to where this one, we haven't done that yet. And so, and I think another big one is the sales process, having a pipeline full of leads that you can forecast against. And, we get a lot of leads, usually white label, organic ranking, stuff like that, some pay-per-click, but we don't get enough to say, hey, we're expecting 40 leads a month. Now let's forecast that compared to how many we can close and do all this stuff. So, and that's what we're working on right now. And it's kind of what, Rank Masters taught us a couple months ago about. This is the stuff that we should have done 13 years ago. and we didn't. And it's learning experience, but now I just kind of hope and help people that kind of not make the same and I don't really call it a mistake because we grew fine, we did fine. COVID hit, we got our ass kicked, but we bounced back. So that was always good. But I think the biggest point is just making sure that structurally we were better with SOPs and training processes and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and I know that for my side, I've had a team and support a lot more than you have. I think it's harder for you to let go of stuff because you are so invested in making sure that like your on page and stuff is done correctly. It's hard to train somebody to be as purposeful and intentional as you are.
Oh yeah, for sure. And some of this stuff is very hard to teach people, especially when you get around anchor text. Anchor text is not a check off a bullet point system, use these 5 anchors. Well, that's fine, but you also need to be more creative. You need to be able to, think about, can I use this whole sentence as an anchor? Does it make sense to do that? And that's the type of stuff that's hard to teach, especially new employees. But when we really spend a lot of time on in the class about it, because it's so important in my mind to silo correctly, especially nowadays. Internal linking is all about that's what on page is how are you linking one page to another, and what's the purpose of that? If I'm in the web design silo, I might not want to have anything go to the SEO silo or anything else. I want Google and my traffic to stick within the silo of their intent. So excuse me, I don't want to confuse them or Google and say, oh, by the way, here's a link over to SEO and you don't have a website yet, but let's send this link over to SEO and go spend some time over in SEO. Well, it's probably didn't do you much good in either case for the end user or for Google. So I think that's
a lot of websites that are not siloed correctly.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's the biggest thing that we see in content. First it was light content, and then it's how things are siloed, and people just need to think about it differently. If somebody's in a city page and they're from that city, and you list all the other cities at the bottom of the page that you're in, what is that purpose? Is that person in Longview going to all of a sudden click on the Tyler page? Well, keep them within that Longview, silo. Don't attach anything else. Why would you want Google to now go to the Tyler page? And but there's some certain circumstances that'll work depending on what you're writing about and all the different things. But I just tell people to just really think of siloing differently than you used to. So, but
what do you see coming up in SEO in the future? You asked me about web design. Anything?
I think a lot of it is going to be through AI, obviously. It's AI is still a giant scraping tool. And I think that you need to be kind of prepared, I guess would be the word, because, at some point AI is going to be just as good as AI is. And then you can just turn around and say, okay, well, I want AI to get some of the stuff they're scraping from my website. And so I see a lot of people, or not a lot of people, I've seen a few people that will, disallow or not let the ChatGPT bot and all these things come to their website. And I'm like, well, you might want to rethink that, especially if ChatGPT and all these AIs aren't going to go away. But why don't you get some of the credit for it also? Why don't teach ChatGPT natural and teach, whether all of them, about your brand? Go to ChatGPT right now and just type in your brand. See what ChatGPT knows about it. Go to all the other AI tools. That's the biggest thing is you want these AI tools to know who you are so you can continue on growing. And I think you're going to have to be better. I think links are the same. Links are getting more expensive every single year, and they're not getting more powerful. That's the big difference. So when you used to pay $30 for a link a couple of years ago, that same link is now $150, but the link is no more powerful than it was 2 years ago. So I think at some point, guest posts and all this stuff that are so important are going to get harder and harder and harder to get. especially depending on the site that you're getting it from. So we get a lot of guest post requests for whether it's Salterra or one of our affiliate sites, and it's getting harder and harder for them to get that information and get those guest posts. So the content, I think content's going to be there. I think it's still going to, if you're answering queries and you're answering questions, then I think you're going to win the game. I don't think SEO is going away anytime soon. But I also think that you need to embrace AI along the process. So, and not hide from it, kind of thing. Make sense? So
totally makes sense.
Okay, cool. Well, I got one more question. Don't you? Okay, I don't know how it's worded. Don't you have a schema course, and where can we find this? So yes, this is something that I've been struggling, and people have asked me for. I've been doing advanced schema for 5 years now. Actually, almost 6. First time I spoke about it was at SEO Spring Training 1, and we're getting ready to do our 6th. So I decided to do a schema course, and this is a course that you can purchase and do it yourself. And I go into very, very deep detail on the thought of schema and what should be in schema, what plugins don't do with schema. It's an all-inclusive thing. It's 15 modules, I think. It's a lot, and it took me about 3 weeks to put it together. And because I wanted to be cohesive, I wanted it to be the best schema course out there that you could learn anything you want to do. If you want to learn ecom schema, I've got 2 sections of ecom schema. And then it's also going to be something that's going to be keep updating. I'm getting ready to log in and do some more updates and have another module about how to use different tools to generate better schema. Generate different ideas. And ChatGPT is one of those. ChatGPT is really, really good at giving you other things to put in there. It's okay writing the schema. We don't use it for that, but we definitely go out and we learn more about topics that should be in the schema, or maybe different things we can do with schema. And then it's at SEOuniversity.net. It was the place to get actually the on-page class and the course. But I think the biggest thing is that you just want, if you're going to go down the schema road, which I encourage everybody to go to because I think it's so important. If you're going to go down the road, do it right. Don't half-ass it. Don't think that you've got something when there's still more out there. And just like I said, if you're interested in becoming better at schema, the schema course is one for you. It's priced reasonably, I think, because of all the stuff that's in it. And again, you get into a private Facebook group with me, and I not only answer your questions about schema, but I also help you with other stuff in this private Facebook group. So it's something I struggled with doing for a long time, just because, I didn't think that a course would do it, but the way I think I did the course in the videos, I think it was the way it needed to be done. So so far we've gotten rave reviews out there about it. We're not really pushing it that hard, but it's out there available if you guys want to get the schema course. And if you want to learn about schema, or you're going to learn more in this course than you ever will doing anything else. So, all right. So that's the last question I had. Any other questions? Nope. It looks like we're all caught up.
Yep. Okay, cool. I have any other questions?
Right on. I've got a couple more, but about family and all that good stuff. Maybe we'll save that for
they're overhearing about our family.
But we're at an hour anyway, so thank you everybody for joining us. Please continue to ask us questions, because we do save these, and I like doing the Q&As, the frequently asked questions, ask us anything type of stuff. So yeah, please bring it to our attention if you have a question about anything, if you have concerns about whatever. But yeah, so we're an open book for you guys, whatever you need. But thank you so much for joining us today. It was fun. We'll be back next week. Next week we've got a few guests coming on that should be pretty. So But anyways, thank you everybody. Have a wonderful week. Do the right things at the right time, and we will talk to everybody soon.